everyone, and welcome to the world of Monsters of Destruction. I'm your host, Wade Sherman, and for the next hour, we're going to turn back the hands of time and revisit the first 12 rounds of the MOD Tour. Monsters of Destruction showcases some of the biggest names in the business and also paves the way for some new upcoming talent to get their first chance to compete against the best in the business. Let's get this party started by introducing the cast of stars. First up, the most famous truck in the world, the original Bigfoot, driven by Dan Runte. Famous for his world record attempts like jumping over 727 airplanes and carving his name in the record books as one of the best drivers in the business. Joining Runte is Dragon Slayer's madman Craig Christensen, best known for his high-flying, death-defying freestyle performances that leave audiences screaming for more, and his son Paul Jensen, the driver of the monster truck Spider-Man, who learned a thing or two while out on the tour with his dad. Also, the junkyard dog, Paul Schaefer, the largest independent owner with 21 monster trucks in his stable. Paul drives the Frankenstein Monster Patrol, powered by a Dodge Hemi. And his sidekick, the beautiful Amber Skywalker, who had her ups and downs this season, but always put her heart and soul into every performance, dazzling crowds all around the country while driving the number 29 Kevin Harvick Kid Rock truck. Then there's the family man, Rick Swanson, who drives the Line-X Obsession truck. He has beaten the best in the business in his day, and he's shown throughout the first 12 rounds that he has a never-say-die attitude and aims to please. He has treated the MOD fans to some spectacular freestyle runs so far this year. Rounding out the cast are two young guns from the state of Washington, Brad Campbell, who owns and drives the Monster Moose, and his partner in crime, Public Disturbance's Curtis Stone. The two of them have had to cut their teeth against some of the toughest competition in the business on their quest to become the first MOD champion. The first stop on the tour was in Bakersfield, California, where rounds 1 through 3 were held. Let's start out with the straight line drags.
The straight line drag final, Dragon Slayer against Monster Patrol. Paul Schaefer gets set, goes up, backs up, makes sure the dirt is down. There is Dragon Slayer on the left part of your screen, or the top. Here's the start. Very close race, but it is Monster Patrol taking the victory. Here's a look from Paul Schaefer's wing, the wing camera, inside for the main event. He launches, gets about 15 feet in the air, and lands down on the ground. It's a 3.0 on the Richter scale. One more time. Again, Dragon Slayer on top, Monster Patrol on the bottom. Dragon Slayer actually gets a little better start, but Schaefer makes up for it in midair and takes home the bacon. Ground level look, the Christmas tree. Actually, Schaefer gets a bit of a bad start, but makes it up in midair and beats Dragon Slayer. Oh, what is this? A problem? Well, after Schaefer won, his truck had some problems. And so the crew pushes that 5-ton monster truck off the track, and it's going to take him a little bit of time. Bad luck for Paul. He'll be out for the rest of the night. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
The starters have to turn the motor over a little bit. Real hot. Hey, can we push it up by hand? See if we can push it up by hand.
Let's go down to Raquel Gardner on the floor.
How's it feel?
Good,
of course I
good.
knew you were going to take first place. I knew he was going to take first place. What does it feel like? It's kind of a smaller venue than you're used to, right?
I'll tell you what, I kept staying in the left lane, and every time I moved my truck, I knew I could run a little bit harder because I got more room than anybody else.
Now what we've all been waiting for, the main event, Bigfoot versus Dragon Slayer. Now, Dan Runte had the fastest time of the night. Let's see if Dragon Slayer can pull off an upset. They come up on the line. Those tires weigh about 650 pounds apiece. Takes 2 or 3 people to muscle them around. This is the main, Bigfoot versus Dragon Slayer. Here's the start. Dragon Slayer on the right there on the lower part of your screen, and there it is. And the win goes to Bigfoot. Takes home the gold in the straight line drags main event. Let's jump on board now with Dan Runte and a camera inside Bigfoot. Rocking and rolling, a 6 on the Richter scale. Both trucks got a good start, but Bigfoot takes the win. Let's head downstairs to Raquel Gardner, who's with the winner, Dan Runte. Raquel, take it away.
Okay, we're going to talk with Dan Runte. He just won the straight line drag race with the Bigfoot truck. Dan, you just keep winning all these darn trophies tonight. So tell me, your you went against Dragon Slayer. That was pretty tough.
He's a tough competitor. Craig's been at it just about as long as I have. We actually talked about it last night. I've been driving about a year longer than he has. I mean,
You guys are good friends.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we get along. We had some rough times, you know, back when we were both starting out. Headstrong, you know, but he's a good friend of mine now, and we help each other out. It's just really cool.
Thanks, Raquel. Now let's take a look at the point standings in straight line drags after 2 events. Monster Patrol, surprise, he's in the lead with 45. Dragon Slayer, 1 point behind 44.
This should be an interesting final. The only 2 trucks to break the sub 3 second barrier here, Monster Patrol and Bigfoot.
Monster Patrol at 2.888 and Bigfoot at 2.902. Basically a dead heat.
Yeah, this should be really good. They're both going to have to try to improve on already good times if they want to win this one. Neither one of them is backing down.
And of course, going into the finals, it means a lot point standings wise.
Yeah, you're on board here with Monster Patrol looking really good. It's almost minutes of anticipation for a really short run, but let me tell you, these drivers are nervous. They want to win. Checking out the tree.
Frankenstein, Monster Patrol on the left. Runty and that Bigfoot on the right, and it is so close, but I believe Monster Patrol might have taken it.
Yeah, look at this. Monster Patrol hits it hard. Once again, stays low. I think a little bit lower than even Bigfoot that time, and that's all the difference that he needed. Wow. 2 sub 3 second rounds. That is phenomenal.
After 3 rounds, Frankenstein, Monster Patrol leading Dragon Slayer and Bigfoot. Let's hear from our winner, Paul Schaefer, who's with Raquel Gardner.
Thank you.
So how does it feel? Because, you know, Bigfoot has been, like, taking all the races here earlier today and yesterday, so you finally took control.
Well, I got lucky. I got in the left lane, and I got a bigger spot here, and I can hit the gas just a little bit. I almost hit the wall about 3 feet, so I come pretty close.
When we return, we'll head to the second stop on the MOD Tour in Fresno, California.
Cottage Grove Speedway bring you the Connect Auto Parts Monster Madness. 375, the Lennox Dealers of Oregon, Village Green Resort Hotel, New Country 93, KBAL, CBS, Peterson Equipment, the Cat Rental Store, and Budweiser. Friday and Saturday night, June 24th and 25th at the Grove. For the first time ever at the Grove, we'll be filming for the Monsters of Destruction National TV series. Bigfoot, Linux Obsession, Monster Moose, Spider-Man, Dragon Slayer, and Public Disturbance. Plus the off-road fury of the tow trucks and freestyle motocross. Get your tickets now. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge. The Connect Auto Parts Monster Madness.
Monsters of Destruction on the Outdoor Channel is brought to you by AmeriGas, America's propane company. And by MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for monster truck merchandise. And by Mickey Thompson, Performance Tires and Wheels. And Go Rhino Products, built to demand respect. Welcome back to Monsters of Destruction on the Outdoor Channel. Race conditions would be a little difficult for Fresno as heavy rains hit the West Coast, causing muddy track conditions. Bigfoot's Dan Runty had some problems of his own as he had to change a broken transmission in the hotel parking lot before the event, while some of the other trucks were doing local displays around the Fresno area. Meanwhile, the track's crew were doing everything they could to get the track dried out so that the trucks wouldn't have any problems in the wet conditions. Let's find out how they did.
The stage is set for the finals. They managed to pull Amber's truck off the track. The young gun, Paul Jensen, in his first main event in the straight line drags against the legend, Dan Runty and Bigfoot. Both trucks are packing down the start. This is going to be an interesting race. Now, why are they packing it down, Rick?
They're packing it down to get it nice and packed, solid, so the tires can actually bite onto something.
Look at the ruts. The ruts are really developing.
Yeah, the ruts are from, we've had so much rain here in California, the dirt was so wet when it was brought in, it's being pulled out right from underneath the tires.
It's going to be a great race. Dan's been the only driver to break into that 2-second time, but right behind him is Paul. We're set to go. Bigfoot on the right, Spider-Man on the left. Both trucks launch off perfectly, and both trucks break the 3-second mark. Dan Runty and Bigfoot takes the win with a 2.724, but Paul Jensen right behind him, 2.851 seconds. The point standings, Monster Patrol in the lead with 90, Bigfoot second with 87, Dragon Slayer third with 77. Let's go down to the field and Elizabeth with Dan Runty.
Looks like you weren't having any problems out there at all. You were awesome.
Yeah, actually, it worked really well. We were a little worried because it was so muddy and stuff, but we just got a new sponsor, Summit, and to win the first one out of that first year is pretty awesome.
We go down to the main event. Bigfoot against Spider-Man. This is Paul Jensen's first main event ever. And this could be very, very interesting. Dan Runty against Paul Jensen and Spider-Man. They get set, and again, let me remind you that that ground is getting extremely tacky. And they were worried earlier because of the traction, blowing transmission. It caused a problem with Monster Moose earlier. Let's see what happens now. Again, inside the cab of Bigfoot. That's his office, Dan Runty. This is the final, the main event in the straight line drags. Bigfoot on the right, Spider-Man on the left. Can Jensen upset Runty? Let's find out. Bigfoot launches off and goes way up in the air and maybe too high. Yes, Spider-Man takes it 3.043 against Bigfoot's 3.143. So Paul Jensen notches a win against Bigfoot. One more time, here's a look at Runty's inside the cab shot. He gets so high, launches himself into the stratosphere. Any higher, he's going to have an oxygen mask. Watch again. Down low, Jensen, a perfect drive, and Runty gets too high, and that's going to cost him. One more time, look at how high Bigfoot gets, and slams into the ground. That jarred his ancestors. The straight line drag results. Spider-Man takes it. Bigfoot second, Dragon Slayer, Monster Patrol, Kevin Harvick, and Monster Moose. Let's look at the point standings for straight line drags. Bigfoot leading with 109, Monster Patrol 108, Dragon Slayer third with 97. Let's go down to the floor in Elizabeth, and a very happy Paul Jensen.
All right, good job. You didn't have any problems at all tonight, are you?
No, I didn't. Our theory is small motor, small track, and it works out good for us.
You're kind of on a roll. Last night, was it your very first win?
Yeah, tonight was my first win in racing. Last night was my first win in freestyle, and it only goes up from here.
And we come now to the main event. This is the drag final, Bigfoot against the Dragon Slayer machine. Dragon Slayer driven by an old, wily seasoned veteran, Craig Christensen out of Utah. The tough country suspension. I think we'll get another look at that suspension of that machine. It's very interesting to folks that are blown away by how much travel that these shocks have. 30 inches. 15, 20 years ago, 12 and a half, 13 inches, now 30 inches. There's Bigfoot. Runty looks to win it again. Pulls up on the line. Here we go with the start, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dragon Slayer against Bigfoot, Christensen against Runty. Dragon Slayer on the right, Runty on the left, and Bigfoot. The officials line them up. This is the main event. This is important. The straight line drags main event. The officials walk away. The green light will go off. There it is. And there's a start. Very evenly matched, but it looks like Bigfoot has taken it. Yes, again, 2.788 seconds against 3.127. So the results, the straight line drags, Bigfoot on top, Dragon Slayer second, Monster Moose third, Monster Patrol, Spider-Man, Kevin Harvick, and Line X Obsession. But the point standings now, after 6 rounds in straight line drags, looks like this. Bigfoot, 134 points in front. Monster Patrol in second, 128. Dragon Slayer, Spider-Man, and Line X Obsession. And Dan Runty is mighty happy in where he is right now.
Actually, tonight went really well. I mean, it was just one of them things. We had this straight line figured out. We took a bad hit in the last race, you know, and got a bad launch off of it. But the truck's working really well. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys at the shop, like Roy and John and them guys. We just got a great group. I mean, it's awesome. It's working awesome.
After round 6, Bigfoot's Dan Runty had padded his points lead over Monster Patrol and Dragon Slayer, but what he didn't know was that he wouldn't be attending the next 2 rounds in Arizona because of prior commitments, leaving the door wide open for someone to come in and take over his points lead. When we return, we'll head out to Glendale, Arizona for rounds 7 and 8 of the MOD Tour. Welcome back. The MOD Tour headed to the state of Arizona for rounds 7 and 8. Since Bigfoot was unable to attend the event, that opened up the door for the legendary Barefoot driven by Larry Swim. Let's sit back and enjoy some more highlights, starting with rounds 7 and 8.
We go down to the final. This is the main event. And this will put Spider-Man against Dragon Slayer, the stepson against the stepfather. Paul Jensen in Spider-Man, Dragon Slayer, Craig Christensen. Here's the final.
This is for bragging rights for at the shop.
This is for bragging rights. The far side Spider-Man, the white machine. This side, the tough country Hummer of Dragon Slayer. Now they both learned what to do. Let's see who enacts it and who actually takes advantage.
All got a better start.
Yep. The win goes to Spider-Man, 3.364 seconds. Dragon Slayer, 3.384. And boy, it's close tonight. Spider-Man takes the straight line drags. Dragon Slayer is second. Monster Patrol's third. In the points after round 7, Monster Patrol 148, Dragon Slayer 141, and Bigfoot 134. Let's go down to Raquel on the field.
Woo! Let's hear it for Paul Jensen! Spider-Man add it to your collection.
Yeah, I'm a little tired now.
What are you doing? You're shaming these guys tonight and girls.
No, I wouldn't say that. In all seriousness, everybody here is a real tough competitor, and we all have nice equipment, and it's just fun to win sometimes.
So this is the final. Dragon Slayer against Line X Obsession. There's Swanson in the AmeriGas truck. Beautiful yellow and blue, and on the other side, this guy is as serious as a heart attack. He loves to win. Craig Christensen out of Utah. He is tough. Well, let's watch him. Line X on the left, Dragon Slayer on the right. Here's the start. This is the main event for all the marbles. Looked to me like Dragon Slayer took it. Let's check the clocks. Whoa, Line X Obsession, 3.433 against 3.442. Straight line drags final, Line X Obsession, Dragon Slayer, Kevin Harvick, Public Disturbance, and Monster Patrol. Let's look at the points. After 8 rounds, it's Monster Patrol tied with Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot in third. Let's go down to Raquel on the floor.
Well deserved, I have to say.
Thank you very much. You know, we were out here with our sponsors. We had Line X AmeriGas out here last night. Unfortunately, first round snapped an axle. We worked for about an hour and a half, got it put back together. Missed the rest of the race and came back to a good freestyle. Came this morning, was another broken axle, fixed that, so we're putting it to the test tonight.
With Dragon Slayer and Monster Patrol tied in points, the series traveled to the East Coast to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Craig Christensen made a 2,000-mile journey from Utah to ensure that he would stay on top of the point standings. This would begin a great rivalry between Dragon Slayer and Monster Patrol for the rest of the season. Bigfoot showed up, piloted by another veteran driver, Dave Harkey, who was filling in for a vacationing Dan Runte. He was in Mexico. Also joining the tour for the East Coast stint was the biggest arms in the business, Dan Patrick, and his truck, Samson.
The straight line final will be Bigfoot going on against Spider-Man. Paul Jensen against Bigfoot. Driving Bigfoot, it's a change. Dave Harkey coming out. Main event is coming up in the straight line drags from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's a look at Harkey inside Bigfoot. They line up. Spider-Man on the left part of your screen. Bigfoot, Harkey on the right. Paul Jensen right there in Spider-Man, 6'6", the biggest man. What's going on here, Rick?
They're testing his RII, the remote ignition interrupter. What they do is it shuts down the truck at a switch on a transmitter. If he was to get into trouble, a track official can shut the truck down. It's a safety precaution.
Right, Spider-Man on the left, Bigfoot on the right. This is the main event, straight line drag, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the start looks to me like Bigfoot may have edged him right there at the line. Let's check the standings. It is Bigfoot. It's 2.755.
That was a close race.
That's really close. So the straight line drag results. Round number 9. Bigfoot takes it. Spider-Man second. Dragon Slayer, Monster Patrol, Kevin Harvick, and Samson finishing last in straight line drags. Let's take a look at the standings. After round number 9, Dragon Slayer 188, Monster Patrol, Bigfoot, Spider-Man, and Kevin Harvick. Let's go down to the field and Raquel Gardner.
Still scares me. Dave, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I tell you what, first off, I got to say thank you to Ford, Firestone, Mac Tools, all our great sponsors. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't be out here doing this every weekend.
No, I hear you. Now tell me, what was going on out there?
I tell you, Paul's a tough competitor. I just had to get my head together, and I knew I had to be early on the light. He's young, and these young guys have a good reaction times, and I knew I had to do something.
Straight line final is set. It'll be Dragon Slayer against Spider-Man, the father against the stepson.
Yeah, Paul's going to really have to be quick off the lights because you notice Craig put him in the bad lane right off the bat. So he's going to have to be really fast off the lights and pull a victory in this one.
Reaction time extremely important. They launch, they land. Let's look at the clocks. The victory, I believe, goes to Dragon Slayer. Let's look at it. Yep, 2.759 for Dragon Slayer. 2.875 seconds for Paul Jensen in Spider-Man. Let's check the books now. For the straight line drags, Dragon Slayer notches another one. Spider-Man second, Monster Patrol third, Bigfoot Samson and Amber Skywalker and Kevin Harvick sixth. So Dragon Slayer, Monster Patrol, and Bigfoot. Let's go down to the field and Raquel Gardner.
You know, it doesn't surprise me that you won this race because you've been dominating this whole series this year. What are you doing different than anybody else that is keeping you ahead of the rest of the game?
Well, I kind of figured out last night that a lot of air, I'm missing the timing lights with the front tires. I'm having to clip it with the middle of the truck. So I tried in qualifying just to let off as I hit the cars and get the nose to drop so it drop into the timing lights. It seemed to be working. But you know what? Paul does a great job, and Paul's truck is very fast indoors. And so I think we've raced probably a dozen times, and this is the first time I finally beat the punk.
We'll be back with more exciting action. Keep it tuned to MOD right here on the Outdoor Channel.
Recap of the first 12 rounds of Monsters of Destruction action on the Outdoor Channel. Bigfoot's Dan Runte showed up in St. Paul, Minnesota with a brand new Ford Hemi engine that he would be testing before the upcoming outdoor events. The question was, could he make up the huge points gap between himself and Dragon Slayer? Let's go to rounds 11 and 12 in St. Paul to find out. So, Bigfoot advances and he will face Paul Schaefer in the Monster Patrol. Monster Patrol looking to take the lead in the season standings of straight line drag action. Caught a big break when Dragon Slayer went out with a bad transmission earlier. It should turn into a very good night for Monster Patrol, but not if Dan Runte and Bigfoot has anything to say about it. Dan Runte and Bigfoot missed a race with us earlier in the season in Phoenix, and they've been playing catch-up all year long. I talked to Dan, and he was very disappointed about that, and he said he wanted to make a statement tonight and move up in those point standings because that's where Bigfoot belongs. So we're about to go green in the finals of straight line drag competition from the Excel Energy Center here in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's Monster Patrol and Bigfoot for all the marbles. Bigfoot, he kicks to the left a little bit. We'll have to go to the time. Very close, 3.062 for Bigfoot, 3.10 for Monster Patrol, and your straight line drag champion tonight, Dan Runte and Bigfoot. Followed by Monster Patrol, Samson, Dragon Slayer, Spider-Man, and Kevin Harvick. It's Bigfoot, your straight line drag winner. Let's take a look at the point standings so far this season. It's still Dragon Slayer on top with 231, followed by Monster Patrol at 223 and Bigfoot at 202. So Schaefer stages first as Amber Skywalker comes up to the line. The safety officials were clear, and we're about to go green in the straight line drag final here in round 12 from the Excel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. The trucks are staged. This one is for all the marbles in straight line drag competition. There's the green. Very close race, too close to call. The time, 3.203 for Amber Skywalker in the number 29 Kevin Harvick truck. She's done it. She's won her first racing competition in Monsters of Destruction action. A great run for Amber Skywalker. She's got to be pleased with that performance. So, your results in Monsters of Destruction round 12 straight line drags. It's Amber Skywalker posting her first win, followed by Paul Schaefer in Monster Patrol, Rick Swanson in the Line-X Obsession Machine. So Paul Schaefer misses an opportunity to take over the season lead, 1 point behind Dragon Slayer, followed by Bigfoot. Let's send it down to Raquel Gardner on the floor, standing by with Amber Skywalker.
You're racing so awesome this week, I gotta tell you. You are shaming all these men.
Oh, I'm not shaming them. They've shamed me enough.
Is she shaming these men?
Thank you, guys.
So what are you doing different tonight than you normally do that's giving you the upper hand?
Well, the AMSOIL Chevy truck's been running really good. The motor's been really great. The motor's got the new oil in it. It's been doing really, really good with it. But had some transmission problems last night, and I got a new transmission in it today that seems to be pulling really hard, so I'm really happy with it.
The season heads outdoors for the summer, and it's time to see these trucks really open it up. When we return, we'll change gears and return back to Bakersfield to check out Chicago-style highlights.
If you use a hose, titch.
Welcome back to Monsters of Destruction as we continue our look back at the first 12 rounds of MOD action. Next up is Chicago-style season highlights. Unlike straight line drags, Chicago-style has some twists and turns that put the drivers and their equipment to the test. Like Craig Christensen said, this is where you separate the men from the boys. Let's head back out to Bakersfield, California.
So the stage is set for the main event, ladies and gentlemen. The Dragon Slayer taking on Bigfoot. Any money on this one here, Rick Swanson?
Well, you know, being a privateer such as Craig, I'd like to see him win, the big guy. But, you know, Dan's awesome. He drives
doesn't make
perfect
mistakes
every time.
He doesn't make mistakes. Dan Runte, and there's a good shot of him in the Bigfoot truck, the big Ford. Dan Runte and Bigfoot against Craig Christensen and the Dragon Slayer. There's a start.
Craig gets around those corners so quick.
Yeah, he really does.
He's actually in front of him.
He's in front of him right now. Bigfoot running second, which you don't see happen very often.
Oh, something must have happened. Bigfoot got him.
Yep, Bigfoot somehow got it. We'll take a look at the replay and see if we can see what happened. But Bigfoot takes the main event here at Bakersfield. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Dragon Slayer. Rick Swanson, what happened in your view here?
Gets a good quick start off the light. Fairly smooth. And you notice he's already got the rears turned. Once he gets over these cars, watch how fast the rear end starts to turn.
So replay of the start from the overhead camera.
Nice, fast around that corner. Oh, look at that.
Uh-oh.
See the back end bounce up?
Yep.
Now he's got to come around the corner. That's why the inside tires are lifting, because he has to get on the gas to try and slide it, because now he no longer can use the brakes to slide. He has to slide it under power.
Craig Christensen up at the top of your screen. And remember, Christensen did not come all the way here to Bakersfield to lose. The main event. Bigfoot on the line. The crowd ready to cheer him on. And there goes Bigfoot. A perfect start. A little bit of an edge here. That's Christensen in the yellow machine. Dan Runty and Bigfoot. No wasted move. Just as smooth as a computer. And he moves up behind and takes the victory. Bigfoot takes it. And the Bigfoot machine, it looks as good as it runs. The winner of the Chicago-style final, Dan Runty in Bigfoot. And here are the point standings after 2 rounds of competition. Bigfoot in front with 50 points. Dragon Slayer in second with 44, and Monster Patrol third with 33.
Beating Dragon Slayer in the semifinals was a huge upset, but nothing would be bigger than beating Bigfoot in the finals at Chicago-style racing. For Brad Campbell, he's 3rd round that he's raced. And here he is.
Chicago finals.
Oh!
Monster Moose knocking into a blue pole.
You know, he knew he had to be aggressive. He knew he had to pull out all the stops, and he was just a little bit too aggressive there.
You can bet your bottom dollar that this young man from the Puget Sound area of the state of Washington is going to put this on his bio. I made the finals of the Chicago style in Bakersfield, California.
Well, Brad Campbell, he'll be at all the Monsters of Destruction events, and you can be sure you're going to end up seeing him in the winner's circle before it's all said and done.
And a reason why he's 75 points and leading the results of the Chicago style over Dragon Slayer and Monster Patrol. Raquel is with Dan.
Are you doing anything different than anybody else that's putting you in control of your truck more so than anyone else?
Driving Bigfoot. How you like that?
Yeah, you are. That's true.
No, we've been at it a long time. We got a lot of good guys behind us. Thank all the guys back at the shop. I mean, Roy and Bob and John and those guys back there are awesome. We put together some good trucks. I mean, it's just cool to come here this weekend and sweep this out as well as we have. The truck's turning well, it's going well.
Bigfoot's Dan Runty makes things look easy, but when we return, Mother Nature takes her toll on the next round in Fresno, California. Fresno as a marked target for the other competitors. Let's see if anyone knocked him off the top spot.
So the stage is set for the final, the main event. Dragon Slayer against Monster Moose.
Gotta go with Craig with the experience, but Brad's been doing really good. It should be a really interesting race. Let's just see how they run it.
So Bad Brad Campbell out of Washington and Craig Christensen out of West Haven, Utah. What a great way to start for Craig and his new sponsor, Ton Country. Craig's giving their money's worth tonight. Brad's been close. He's not been able to take home the trophy out of the Monster. Here's the start. Monster Moose against Dragon Slayer. A raw rookie against a seasoned veteran. The mud, the blood, and the beer here at Selland Arena in Fresno, California. Suspension graphics. There's the start. Up and over the cars. Look, good start. And, oh, problem. What happened with Monster Moose? Rick, what happened?
I think Brad gets nervous in the finals because he did the same thing down in Bakersfield on round 2.
He turned the rear wheels and looked like they were going the wrong way.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be seat time to get used to that rear steering. I think it's just going to, you know, when things go his way, he's really good, real smooth, real quick. But when things go wrong, you turn him the wrong way, and that's what happens.
And there's so much to remember as we talked about. Let's take a look inside the cab and see if we can figure out what happened with Campbell. Rick, what's he doing?
He's got the rear steer going. You know, he starts turning it the other way. That's when he turns the wrong way.
And here are the points after round 4. Bigfoot with 95, Dragon Slayer 87, Monster Moose with 65. Let's go down to Elizabeth and get an interview with Craig Christensen.
You didn't have any problems tonight at all, did you?
No, Chicago style is my forte. I do the best I can in Chicago style.
And what is a locker?
A locker is where both rear tires have to spin at all times. For straight line drags, a locker is great. We normally run a locker. We knew that this is a turning course. We pulled the locker out. I learned to drive with a locker for 12 years. My 17-year-old says, Dad, you need to take the locker back out because you can't drive with it.
And he'll meet Bigfoot in the Chicago Style Final. And this sets the stage for a replay of round number 3 in Bakersfield. Now remember back then, Brad Campbell, the Monster Moose, got a little bit next up, and turned the wheels the wrong way. Here's the start, main event, Bigfoot against the Monster Moose. Oh, and it happened again! Brad Campbell, I don't know if it's a pressure or what, but he turns the rear wheels the wrong way, and that gives the win on a silver platter to Dan Runny and Bigfoot. So Bigfoot takes it. The time, 16.617. We give you the Monster Moose time, we'd have to have a sundial. Let's take a look at it one more time. Dan Runny and Bigfoot, an easy victory for him. A mistake, a major mistake by the Monster Moose. Look at it one more time. Watch the inside camera. Goes around, and here's where it is. Turns the rear wheel the wrong way, and he knows it. He knows it. And that's it for Brad Campbell. He goes home on the Greyhound bus. As Bigfoot takes the victory, and Dan Runny, again, he's smooth. He takes it, no mistakes. Now let's take a look at the Chicago-style results after round 5. Bigfoot is your winner, with Monster Moose in second and Monster Patrol finishing third. Spider-Man fourth and Dragon Slayer rounding out the top 5. In the Chicago-style point standings, Bigfoot leads the field with 120. So the main events will pit Bigfoot against the Dragon Slayer, and here we go with the main. Now, Bigfoot's going to have his work cut out for him here. Runty is, because Dragon Slayer is on a roll. Christensen is feeling good about everything. Everything's working. That short wheelbase hover is working extremely well on this very tacky track, because the traction is unbelievable. There's a start. Bigfoot has won just about everything so far, but he may have a problem here with Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer starting to catch up to him. That's what you look for. Yes, and Dragon Slayer goes off, slightly off, but he takes the win. As long as the machines line up and hit the launch ramp correctly, it doesn't matter what happens afterward. The Chicago-style racing finish. Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol in third, Monster Moose fourth, Spider-Man and Kevin Harvick. The point standings after round 6. Let's go down the field with a very happy Craig Christensen.
When I come around the corner there over that last set of cars, I barely hit the cars with both tires, and one set of tires missed the cars, so I kind of put it up on 2 wheels, and the only thing to do is just hang on and ride it out.
When we return, we'll head to Phoenix, Arizona for more exciting Chicago-style racing. Today, Bigfoot had to miss the next 2 rounds of the tour because of prior commitments. That opened up the door for Dragon Slayer's Craig Christensen to gain some valuable points to hopefully come out on top of the Chicago-style point standings.
So the stage is set. The main event, Dragon Slayer against Barefoot. Here's the start. Dragon Slayer coming towards you, Barefoot going away from you.
Once again, you got to give the slight advantage to Craig because of the shorter wheelbase.
That Hummer is a very short wheelbase. Not quite the horsepower of Barefoot, perhaps, but he gets around there a little bit faster.
Yeah, but once again, the smaller motor may not have the horsepower, but in the smaller arenas, the blower works better on the motor, so you can get
Dragon Slayer takes 16.191 seconds. That's the first truck to go into the 16-second bracket. Barefoot 18.802. So the results show Dragon Slayer, Barefoot, Monster Patrol first, second, and third. The final standings, the points after 7 rounds. Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot, and Monster Patrol. Let's go down the field and Raquel Gardner.
How's it feel?
Like I say, this all goes to the team. You know, there's a lot of guys that don't get to come out here. They're at the shop. They're all kids. You know, they're all my sons and their friends that get to come to the shop and help. And they don't get to come. They have school. School is #1 most important, and so they have to stay back. But you know, I just wanted to say something to that young punk over there. You know, he said all us old guys. Well, who was in the finals? It was the old guys, Larry and I, that were here teaching the young bucks the new tricks.
Well, this is the final, ladies and gentlemen. And again, pumping disturbance, Curtis Stone finds himself in a main event. I can't believe this. Going up against Dragon Slayer. This is going to be a tough one, though. They launch. Dragon Slayer coming at you. Stone going away from you. There's Craig Christensen and Dragon Slayer. Getting down and getting right over there. Oh, a problem. Look out. Something happened with public disturbance. Could not turn, could not get around the corner. Looks like that will hand the victory to Dragon Slayer. So the results, Dragon Slayer, public disturbance second, Monster Moose, Monster Patrol, and Barefoot. And that means that Dragon Slayer is on top after 8 rounds, and Bigfoot's going to come back in Winston-Salem. Let's go down to Raquel on the floor.
You talking, you're just crazy.
It's just another day in the office. You just get in behind the wheel, stand on the gas, turn the corner. This is what divides the men from the boys.
Dragon Slayer's Craig Christensen and his newfound confidence, along with the rest of the drivers, packed up and traveled to the East Coast to Winston-Salem, North Carolina for rounds 9 and 10.
Round number 9, this is the main event, Chicago style. Dragon Slayer against Bigfoot. Craig Christensen against Dave Harkey in his first appearance this year in Monsters of Destruction. There's Harkey right there. Here's a start. Extended track, which Rick Swanson likes very much. No problem so far for Christensen. Doesn't look like it, right? Rick
He's
Swanson?
flat tracking pretty good.
Slipping and sliding through the mud, the blood, and the beer. And Christensen wheelies over the cars to celebrate it. He won it. Dragon Slayer takes the victory with a 20.92 clocking. Bigfoot right behind him, 21.904. So the Chicago style results: Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot, Spider-Man, Samson, Monster Patrol, and Kevin Harvick here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the point standings after 9. Dragon Slayer 202, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Monster Moose, and Spider-Man rounding out the top 5 after round 9. Let's go down to Raquel Gardner on the floor. Raquel?
Let's let him get his helmet off. I always know Craig is in for some surprises. He gives us some great shows. Congratulations.
Thanks. Like I say, I heard him announcing that I had competition here this weekend. You know what? I have a competition every weekend, but I don't care who it is. If I have to step my game up a little bit, to win it, I win it.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the main event. The Chicago style racing, a couple of seasoned veterans, Dan, Patrick, and Sampson, and Dave Harkey and Bigfoot.
You know, you got the best of the best out here for driving-wise and equipment.
Now, they don't make many mistakes, do they? Or can they make a mistake in something like this?
You know, mistakes can happen no matter who's driving. With these two out here, you don't expect to see mistakes, but things can happen.
They are definitely not rookies. All right, the start. They both get off the line clean. Sampson on the gas around the left-hand turn over the cars. Bigfoot and Sampson very evenly matched. Let's see who pulls it off. They're running extremely close. You can see as you look diagonally across the track.
Look at Dan with that big horsepower Hemi motor. You notice he used all the shutdown room he could.
Right, he slammed on the binders right before he hit the wall. Let's look at the clocks. Bigfoot against Sampson. Oh, both of them broke the 21-second barrier. Sampson wins it 20.836 seconds. Bigfoot right behind him, 20.953. The only 2 trucks tonight to go past or into the 21-second mark. 20 seconds. Incredible. So close. So let's look at the standings. The Chicago style results: Sampson, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Dragon Slayer, Kevin Harvick, and Spider-Man. For Chicago style racing, the point stands: Dragon Slayer 220, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Spider-Man, and Monster Moose. Let's go down the field and Raquel Gardner. Raquel?
You guys have been in the business a long time.
I'm with Boston Real Estate.
You guys were that was a pretty close race tonight, huh?
Yeah, Dave's a great competitor. I always like racing Bigfoot in the finals. We've done it for years and years, and I don't know who's won more or less, but it's always a good race when we're out there.
Now, what do you think gave you the advantage in this particular race over Dave and Bigfoot?
Embarrassment from last night.
What happened last night?
I didn't do very well last night.
Well, you sure made up for it tonight.
When we return, we'll see if Bigfoot can run down Dragon Slayer to take over his points lead. You're watching Monsters of Destruction on the Outdoor Channel.
WHR Motorsports and Cottage
on the Outdoor Channel is brought to you by AmeriGas, America's propane company. And by MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for monster truck merchandise. And by Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels. And Go Rhino Products, built to demand respect. Welcome back to Monsters of Destruction. Bigfoot's Dan Runte returned to action after missing 4 rounds of competition. His teammate Dave Harkey did a fine job making up points on Dragon Slayer's Craig Christensen. But would it be enough going into St. Paul, Minnesota? Let's find out.
So the stage is set now for our Chicago-style final. It's Paul Jensen and Spider-Man, who's been a man possessed tonight. He's been a half a second, even a second and a half better than the competition all night long. He'll be going up against Dan Patrick in Samson. You would think going into this race that Paul Jensen has the advantage in the Hummer. That short wheelbase is really good for making these turns, but Dan Patrick has a lot of pride and a lot of experience. This is going to be a great final. A good start for Dan Patrick. Oh, Paul Jensen hits the pole. That's going to be a 2-second penalty. He really tries to hug that pole, but this time it bit him. He got too close. This race is going to go to Samson if he can keep it going straight. He's across the line. I don't think the penalty's going to enter into it. He flat out beat Spider-Man by a bunch. That was an old-fashioned whipping. We'll have to check the official times on the computer. 15.175 for Samson, 18.374 after adding the 2-second penalty for Spider-Man. Samson beat Spider-Man's previous best time by a full second. That was just a great run for Dan Patrick in Samson as he celebrates and acknowledges the St. Paul crowd. Let's take another look at this race. Samson put on a dominating performance. He gets around that turn clean. Up and over the cars. He's got a lot of speed. Slides through that turn. Doesn't scrub any speed in the turn. A good run here. A little off on those jumps, but a great run for Dan Patrick and Samson. Now, let's take a look at Paul Jensen and Spider-Man. A great start. Tries to hug that pole. That's his secret, but too close on the turn. Knocks down the turning pole. Costs him 2 seconds. Also, he had a little trouble clearing that line of cars on that pass right there. Bobbled the rear end of the car. That cost him some time. Even without the penalty, he was beat by a full second. Just an impressive run by Dan Patrick in Samson. One last look. You see those rear wheels kick in the air on the right side of your screen. A little off camber there for Samson, but he is quick. This is a great race. Doesn't carry the turn wide, approaches those cars straight and even, and advances to victory. An impressive performance by Dan Patrick in Samson. Here are your results in tonight's action. It was Samson, followed by Spider-Man, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Linex, and Kevin Harvick. Taking a look at the season standings now, it's Dragon Slayer still in the lead with 220 points, followed by Bigfoot at 206 and Monster Patrol at 191. Let's send it down to Raquel Gardner on the floor.
You're really making a name for yourself right now. 15 seconds, does that surprise you?
Well, this is a tough track because of being so wet. I mean, it's really killing the clutch in my truck, you know, so we'll have to redo our clutch for tomorrow. But no, I mean, I really like doing the turning courses, and that's where I always used to shine when we used to do a lot of it. And I've gotten away from it. We're going to coming back, and I think I'm getting back in my old form.
It's Rick Swanson in the Linex Obsession Machine against Paul Jensen in the Spider-Man Hummer. One thing's for sure, we will have a first-time winner in Chicago-style racing in MOD competition. Neither driver has won in Chicago-style racing. They've both come a long way. Paul Jensen from Salt Lake City, Rick Swanson from Menifee, California. Neither one of them wants to go home disappointed. We'll see who can get it done here tonight in the Chicago-style final. Rick Swanson in the Linex, Paul Jensen in Spider-Man. Little gamesmanship going on right here. Neither driver wants to bring his truck up to the line. We'll see who stages first. Sometimes psychology plays a big part in these races. Rick Swanson has a lot more experience than Paul Jensen, so let's see if he can get under Paul's skin here. Paul brings that Spider-Man Hummer to the line. Rick is staged. We're about to go green in Chicago-style final racing action on Monsters of Destruction on the Outdoor Channel. Jensen gets a good start, kicks those rear wheels around, gets around the first turning pole clean. Big air for Swanson. He drifts to the right so he can take that turn and hug the pole. Spider-Man with the advantage here. He's going to bring it home first. A good run for Paul Jensen and Spider-Man, winning by half a second. His time, 15.065 compared to 15.543. So here are your results for round 12 of Chicago-style action. It's Spider-Man with his first win of the season, followed by Rick Swanson in the Linex, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Samson, and Dragon Slayer. The season standings look like this. It's Dragon Slayer 232, Bigfoot 226, Monster Patrol 209, followed by Spider-Man and Monster Moose. And now down to Raquel Gardner standing by with Paul Jensen.
Last night, were you having some problems a little bit?
Yeah, last night I was having a hard time. This dirt's really wet and it likes to grab your tires. We made a few adjustments on the motor, didn't do very good in straight line drag, so we had to pick up the pace in Chicago style. Worked out good.
With 6 points separating the two top spots, it's going to be a dogfight to the end. Monsters of Destruction now heads outdoors to Cottage Grove, Oregon to kick off its summer tour. We'll leave you with some exciting freestyle highlights. Remember, there are men, there are machines, and then there are monsters of destruction.